So the other week, I put out my first YouTube video. It happened to be a reaction to XG's puppet show. And during the course of reacting to that video, as part of my, I guess, introduction, because it was, the first of a couple of things for me, I provided some kind of just quick background. Not that quick. I think that video is 50 minutes long or something like this. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. Let me know what you think. Um, but as part of my kind of background into explaining my history with foreign music, I got into how for one hot summer or two back in my younger days, I was when I was introduced into K-pop for the first time. Um, and how I still remember some of the artists, some of the groups that I would listen to, and I thought it would be interesting to kind of go back and give those groups or those particular songs that I do recall another listen, because as I kind of explained in that introduction slash background video, um, after that summer or two back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I kind of just dropped K-pop completely. I think I just moved on to something else, and it was that time of, experiencing these different things, right? So, um, and then it wasn't until COVID, some 20 years later, right, that I got back into it. And then a couple of months literally after that is when I found XG, and I've been, listening to them ever since. And I think that was pre-debut, about to debut time frame for XG. And not only that, but when I got back into K-pop and then into XG and their, I guess, X-pop is what it's being called, music, um, I was kind of informed as to some of the kind of identifiers that exist within like K-pop music, right? I didn't know what a bias was. I didn't know about these showcase shows and variety shows and dance practices and all these things. Back when I was first getting into it, um, all me and my homeboy had was a CD, and that was it. It could have been a burnt CD. It could have been a legit one. It really kind of depended, but that's all we had. And so whatever kind of visual aid that we had was usually in the form of the cover art, right? The album cover or something like this. I want to say back then, internet was relatively, at least to us, new, and we sure didn't or weren't allowed, especially in my house, right, to use it to explore any of my interests at that time, right? It was either business or nothing at all, right? So remembering those groups, and I've kind of outlined four of them in particular in that in my first video there, and those are going to be the groups we check out today. Where we have a music video from V.O.X. We have one from H.O.T. We have two from Jinusean, and we have one from Tasha, or Lady T is how I knew her back in the day. We're going to get into music videos. We're going to take it one at a time. I haven't heard these songs in 20 years. The V.O.X one, I don't think I remember hearing at all. I just remember V.O.X as a group back when I was listening to K-pop music, right? V.O.X, Finkel was big. And then some of the male groups and male artists, and then obviously a lot of that too was very hip hop oriented, like we'll see with Jinusean and with Tasha there. So the first video we're going to get into, and it'll be interesting again, just to kind of see how it compares to the music I'm listening to now, and as well as the K-pop music that's out now. And see if any of it is familiar, if it still holds up. So just a nice little trip down memory road to my simple and humble, K-pop beginnings. So the first video we have here is going to be V.O.X's Xstacy with Tupac and Flossy P. Obviously, we all know Tupac. randomly enough, his name has been in the news lately regarding arrests being made. Jada Pinkett Smith has put his name out there in regards to, I guess, some book or something she's putting out. So for me, who's not even normally into, the news or celebrity gossip or these kinds of things, I thought it was odd that during the course of kind of researching these songs and videos, that there was a Tupac K-pop connection at all, and that here lately, again, some 25 years, I guess, after he was shot, we have Tupac's name in the media space. So I'm interested to hear it. I haven't heard it. Baby V.O.X, Xstacy featuring Tupac and Flossy P. Let's get into it.
Collaboration. Flossy, what's up?
Game cold like the pole in the winter. Picture in position to smash, feeling the hitter. I want it in the kitchen on the countertop, hit the spots. Till the cops start to knock, wake up the whole block. How you want it, baby?
Hold on. So the intro there, we heard Tupac's voice. It kind of reminds me of, was it the mid 2010s or something like this? Maybe 10 years ago, maybe. I can't really remember. When there was a lot of like Tupac new music coming out under, I guess under Aftermath and Shady, right? On some Eminem, 50 Cent, G-Unit kind of mashup, right? To where it was new Tupac verses that we hadn't heard before. And apparently it was Tupac, but it was all with Eminem and 50 Cent and G-Unit and those kind of guys, right? But you can tell it was old verses because it wouldn't mesh right? To where it wasn't mixed right to kind of have the same kind of quality as the actual current song that was being produced. So that's kind of what I thought of hearing Tupac's voice there in the beginning. How it was kind of way back here and not really on par sound quality wise to the beat and then to this first artist here, Flossy P. Reactions to Flossy P. Never heard of him before. Don't know who he is. His lyrics, right? Can we talk about his lyrics? To where obviously the innuendo is there. Was that something? And through a lot of these videos, I think I'll be kind of, asking the fans of the groups who might recall these songs, what the feeling was at that time, right? To where, okay, you have Baby V.O.X that was huge at the time. I think this video or song was released in 2004, right? So this would have been after I would have stopped listening, I think. So in 2004, is Baby V.O.X still as big as they were in the earlier 2000, 2001, 2002, something like this? And how do you feel about a remix that like this, right? A remix with a Western rapper who, I mean, obviously is there for more international exposure and everything else, but was this kind of out of left field for them, right? I'm not, again, familiar at all with Baby V.O.X's catalog, not that I can remember. Again, I remember listening to them, back in the day, but I couldn't tell you a song or anything like this. That's why we're going through this here. Was this out of left field? How did it go with it being at least for me, relatively unknown rapper and Flossy P? Would have been better to go with a Korean rapper and just do it that way? What's the feel on that? Especially when the lyrics are what they are, right? And I think that's something we'll get into as we go through these videos and future videos, where it's a remix of a song or it's a collab with an artist who's a rapper that'll not necessarily bring the kind of either lyrical game or skill set to the group or to the song that you might think would be required, right? So in other words, is having Flossy P on this track a step down for Baby V.O.X? Is what he's talking about not really reflected of what the song is about? I mean, the song is called Xstacy, so I guess we'll get into, what that means. It could be that the song is exactly in line with what he's rapping about. Otherwise, it would be a complete kind of incompatibility, right? But curious about that, to where there's remixes or artists being featured on songs to where on the surface you might think it's a good idea. You hear it, not that great of an idea, that kind of thing. So far, interesting. We have import cars, street racing, and Flossy P talking about kitchen counters and other such things, right? Let's take it back to the beginning.
Right now, collaboration. One guy. Flossy, what's up?
Game cold like the pole in the winter. Picture in position to smash, feeling the hitter. I want it in the kitchen on the countertop, hit the spots. Till the cops start to knock, wake up the whole block. How you want it, baby? On the hood of the car, from the back to the front, red hot heels on the in the living room in Cancun, feel the breeze. Strawberries on your stomach, the spreads of whipped cream.
Baby, so how do you want me, baby? I know you love this, baby. Oh, slow down, baby. Is it does you do it easy? Try to teach and please me. Tell me how you want it. How do you need me? Passionate ecstasy. You're right next to me. Tell me all your deepest fantasies. Make love to sunrise, holding so tight. How do you want it? I'm yours tonight. Baby, be with the recipe to give you real love. Live it up and rock the party. If you
The first verse there from the V.O.X member is, I think, better than Flossy P's verse. That's just my opinion. She sounds nice. It also sounds like most of the lyrics there are in English, and it sounds like, yeah, those lyrics are exactly in line with what Flossy P was talking about, and the title of the song. Again, I go back to asking V.O.X fans that are familiar either with the music at the time or V.O.X's image as a group in total. This has to be, I'm assuming, something out of left field for them, something unfamiliar for them, having their lyrics be comprised of something like this, and having Western rappers on a track, right? I mean, to me, it seems unfamiliar, and that's with me not even remembering much of V.O.X's image at the time, much less of this song being completely new to me. So, very interesting. Second verse, better than the first verse. Okay, I get what the song is talking about. Let's keep it moving.
recipe to give you real love, live it up and rock the party. If you wanna hit a little fun with me, you gotta show me a little bit more. If you wanna hit a little ecstasy,
Okay.
you gotta show me a little bit more. If you really wanna go with me.
I think the red hair there was the popular member, if I'm not mistaken. Again, just based off of my circle at the time and the album cover art that we had to go off of for V.O.X, I remember, and it would have been an album previous to this one, I believe, that particular member was the one that everybody was kind of talking about. Again, at least in my little neck of the woods, right? I like this part here. I like this slow, low singing part. We kind of get the some kind of chorus there, or it might just be just another verse. But I like that a lot better than how the song started. The import cars are definitely bringing me back to high school. This is high school for me, right?
You gotta show me a little bit more. If you wanna hit a little ecstasy, you gotta show me a little bit more. If you really wanna go with me, baby, you're gonna lose control.
Hold on. Speaking of the import cars, right? Veilside, wow. Veilside brings me back. Veilside body kits bring me back. That was definitely a big part of my early 2000s, right? Import Tuner and Import Tuner magazine, right? And everything that encompassed. I think in the beginning of the video, we saw, Nissan Fairlady Zs, right? Or 350Zs. I had one back when I was younger as well, right? So this is bringing back a lot of nostalgia for me personally, aside from the song. And again, the Tupac, him being on the track as well, right? So a lot of what was a big part of my high school days is here in this song, randomly enough. Very awesome, very random.
If you really wanna go with me, baby, you gonna lose control. Ooh, baby, I'm not that easy. You better just let me go. I'm not gonna wait on you, so you better step up, boy. Step up, step up, boy. Baby, so how do you want me, baby? I know you love this, baby. Don't slow down, baby. I know you want me, baby. So how do you want me, baby? I know you love this, baby. Don't slow down, baby.
I'm sitting here hoping that we can find some way to kick it, even though I got your digits, gotta struggle to resist it. I slowly advance and it's my chance not to miss it. You blowing kisses when he ain't looking at your heart's ticket. My only wish is that you change your mind and get your shit. Wanna take you in, but you're scared to follow. Come see tomorrow, hoping I can take you through the pain and sorrow. Let you know I can. If someone's there for your struggle, depend on me when you have needs or there's trouble. I wanna give you happiness and maybe even more. I told you before, no time to waste. We can hook up at the store. Can you get away? Get away.
So that way, a couple of things on the Tupac verse. The actual video there of Pac. Again, I think if this song was out in 04, Pac died in 96. So this video of him had to have been from back then. You see him with hair there. I don't know if that's a lookalike. I don't know if that's Pac. The verse is from, I know the verse. The verse is from Can You Get Away? And I remember that song being a slow jam. That's a slow jam. So they sped up his verse, put either him or somebody that looks like him in the video. And the verse, and this is what we talked about before, right? With having artists on your track that add something that might be different than what the song is wanting to be. And oddly enough, we get that from Pac's verse, right? In the beginning of the song, I thought it might have been from Flossy P, but with Pac's verse here, and for his verse to be from Can You Get Away, which is a slow jam. If they would have made this song like Can You Get Away, right? If they would have slowed it down, have a more kind of R&B vocal coming from V.O.X, and have the verses play out at that kind of speed, then I think it would have been a great song, right? It's just that I don't know. Again, it's like everyone else's verse here makes sense for me except Pac's, oddly enough. That's kind of interesting. That's kind of crazy to me, right? And because his verse is from a song that we've heard before, and if you haven't heard Can You Get Away, please give it a listen. It's a banger. But because that song is slower and has a completely different kind of vibe to it, right? That verse doesn't match here. Not at all. Not for me. And for me, they could have chose a different Pac verse, if anything, especially if they were going to mess with the speed and that kind of stuff. Or have the song be different, right? Have the song be just a slower jam, and then have that verse fit the way it fits in his song, right? So again, let me know. Any fans out there who know this song, or if it's your first time listening to it, and you're coming from being maybe a Tupac fan, or not knowing Tupac, and this is your first time hearing him on a song like this with V.O.X, and you're more familiar with V.O.X, let me know how this fits for you. How does this sound for you? Because for me, every other part of the song, for the sake of the song, makes sense. And then Pac's verse is just, for me, too different. It's a great verse, again, coming from a great song. But the way they used it here, I don't know.
If you really wanna roll with me, baby, you gonna lose control. Ooh, baby, I'm not that easy. You better just let me go. I'm not gonna waste my time, so you better run up, boy. Run up, run up, boy. Baby, so how do you want me, baby? I know you love this, baby. Don't slow down, baby. I know you want me, baby. So how do you want me, baby? I know you love this, baby. Move your soul, baby.
Floss P, represent, let him know.
Move your body, let the music take you out of control. Rock the party, put it down, from belly to soul. Get it jumping, hot like live wire. Nobody does it better, got the world on fire. Floss the overlord, give them what they want more. 100% pure, rugged hardcore. Pumping in your Jeep when you cruise the block. Turn the volume up, let the system rock. We make hits, steady chasing the chips. International thug-ish, can't hate it, just love this. World famous, collaborate with the greatest. Tupac and Baby V.O.X, so dangerous.
So baby, Flossy P's second verse, I think, was a lot better than his first verse. Up until that beat drop. When the beat dropped, when the beat kind of cut out, and he was just kind of going on, that's when his verse for me kind of fell apart. That first part, 75% of his second verse, put that at the front of the song, cut out his first verse, put this second verse at the front of the song, a great verse. You know what I mean? It would have been a great little verse from him, but to have him on the song twice, his first verse didn't really do it for me. The second verse was great up until when the beat cut off, and then he just kind of went on, and I was like, oh, what are you doing? It was a decent verse up until then. You know, not hating on him, but you know, it's the opinion of how the song of how the song was kind of going, right? To where it's like, okay. Then it was like, what are you talking about here? Interesting song. I wonder how this did at the time. I wonder how it was received. I wonder a lot of things, right, about the song. Video was cool. Choreo is, nothing's really jumping out at me. Not that I'm a choreo guy anyway, but as I understand it, these are one of the things that that gets attention from when you watch especially K-pop music videos or something like this. Obviously, I watched it for XG and the new stuff, but back then, I wonder if there was anything outstanding choreo-wise. That was kind of the trend at the time, right? Choreo was there. Music video is telling a street racer's story. Not only does it remind me of Fast and the Furious, but there is to date me even further, right? There is an old Paula Abdul song that involves street racing. If you know that song, if you've seen the music video to that song, let me know. That's a great song and a great music video, right? Let's finish it out.
So how do you want me, baby? I know you love this, baby. Move your soul, baby.
I wanna rock you, baby, on the top of my Mercedes. I wanna rock, y'all. Come on. Yeah. Holla. Come on.
I like that ending. Hold on. I like that ending. That seems like a genuine kind of reaction, right? You know, that is very funny. I like that. I like that ending. But yeah, so that is Baby V.O.X, Tupac, and Flossy P for Xstacy. Interesting song. I think for the time, it sounds like something that would have been, listenable at the time. Again, I'm just more curious about how it was received and just the nature of the collab itself, right? To where, was it really necessary? Are there other songs in that particular album that are like that, or was just the one random track in that Baby V.O.X album that was like this? Or was this kind of them wanting to explore a new and kind of different direction? So let me know what you think about that. Would really appreciate it. The next song we have is we're actually getting into some hip hop. The next song is for Jinusean. The name of the song is A-Yo. Again, this is part of that one summer, two summer K-pop experience I had back in the day. I remember the cover art for this Jinusean album specifically, of the two artists there sitting on like ice carved thrones, right? And I remember this album, and we had the whole album being a great album. Again, for it being something that I was completely unfamiliar with we didn't have the music videos, we didn't have like the subtitles to know what was being said or anything like this. It was purely just new and exciting music. Jinusean was one, most definitely, that I recall, and this song specifically as well. Haven't heard, didn't know there was a music video for this. I just remember the name of the song is A-Yo, again from Jinusean. Let's get into it. Who else is thinking first of the month?
This is the snitch that y'all ain't ready for.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
This is the snitch that y'all ain't ready for. I said one for the money and two for the show. 지루션과 함께면 너도 챔피언. Hey 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 hey. 아쉣 새로 태어난 힙합이요. Said one for the money and two for the show. 지루션과 함께면 너도 챔피언. Hey 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 hey. 아쉣 새로 태어난 힙합.
Had the old Jordans in the closet there.
너도 챔피언. One for the money and two for the show. 지루션과 함께면 너도 챔피언. Hey hey hey.
Right there, right? Those are my favorite Jordans. I'm not so up on Jordans, nor have I ever been to tell you which Jordan number was which particular style. But those right there, those are them. Those are them for me.
Hey hey hey. 아쉣 새로 태어난 힙합이요. Yo microphone check 1 2 Hey yo. 아무도 누구도 날 몰라줄 때. Hey yo. 왕따가 구타당할 때. Hey yo. 백 있어 유죄가 무죄가 될.
Back when, I don't know what the reaction there was at the time, and it probably wasn't that big of one, right? Because I think back when this song and other songs like this came out, again in the early 2000s, there wasn't so much of a global audience to where certain details or things weren't as sensationalized or talked about or controversial as they are now, or as it seems like they are now, right? So seeing these dudes with braids doesn't bother me. If it was to happen now, and again, because coming from like XG and some of the hate that they get for the music that they put out and some of the looks that they've had, I wonder if there was any kind of backlash from fans of this time regarding some of the Korean hip hop groups, because a lot of it was just kind of, as far as the looks go, right, as far as the appearance, was really kind of copy and paste what was going on in the States. If not at that time, then, you know, maybe a decade or so previous, as far as, you know, the look and the aesthetic is concerned, right? So I'm not surprised here to see these dudes having braids. Does it bother me? Not at all. Again, I like the song. The beginning definitely brought me back.
배고픈데 밥이 없을 때. 누가 세팅벌레 모습을 볼 때. 사랑했던 네가 나 잘 때. 네가 도리도리 춤을 출 때. 아파도 병원에 못 갈 때. 동메달 따고도 너 울 때. 차가 막혀 화사 껴야 할 때.
Brought out the lowrider bike. What is going on with these videos? Just like the V.O.X video with the cars there and the Veil side body kits. Lowrider bikes. Why haven't they made a comeback? And they were big even before this. Obviously in the States they were big even before this. This is early 2000s. So lowrider bikes take me back. I wanted one so bad. Coming up, you know, it's probably before I got into the whole like import scene, right? Before that, I was really into like Lowrider magazine, right? Because those cars and those interiors for those cars were ridiculous, right? So Lowrider magazine was a huge deal, right? And that's when I found out what lowrider bikes were. And are you kidding me? I had my create a bike wish list parts all picked out. You know what I mean? And so seeing this, seeing a lowrider bike, and hopefully we'll get a full shot of it if you aren't familiar with lowrider bikes, because as much as the kind of nostalgic thing has been trending in certain things have been coming back that were popular back during this time. I'm surprised lowrider bikes haven't been a part of that, especially since we have like these e-scooters and everything else back. Give me an lowrider bike? Are you kidding me? Ooh. Tell me that's the thing. Tell me that's the thing, and I didn't just come up with that, and I'm the only one thinking it. Give me an lowrider bike, swinging it. That brings me back. Let's take it back. Lowrider bikes, Dan Cortez Nikes, Dickie pants, wife beater, hairnet. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know.
도리도리 춤을 출 때 아파도 병원에 못 갈 때 금메달 따고도 넣을 때 차가 막혀 화사 껴야 할 때 집어쳐 이 음악에 미쳐 Get it on, get it on, ha ha Bring it on, ha come on I said one for the money and two for the show 지누션과 함께면 너도 챔피언 Hey 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 I said 새로 태어난 힙합 파피오 Said one for the money and two for the show 지누션과 함께면 너도 챔피언 Hey 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 I said 새로 태어난 힙합 파피오 반가운 친구를 만날 때 난 예쁜 여자가 눈길 보낼 때 난 TV쇼에 힙합이 나오면 난 사고 싶은 옷을 선물 받을 때도 난 전화 받을 때 내가 하는 말 웨이터를 부를 때도 난 싸울 때도 말릴 때도 화해할 땐 Ayo 은행 고장 속에도 니 가득 찰 때 난 내가 상복권이 당첨이 됐을 때 난 이렇게 기쁠 때 난 소리쳐 모두가 들을 수 있게 Let's get it on, get it on
And so far, I like the song. Again, I liked it for the same reasons I think that I liked it before, where we have this interjection of A-Yo and how the lyrics kind of work around that, right? I like, at the time especially, I like those kind of songs where you were presented either with a phrase or with a word or a sound, and that was kind of an integral part of the song, and you have the rapper or rappers or, you know, lyrics kind of work around that and incorporate that in interesting ways, right? So A-Yo, we all know what that is, right? Regardless if we're, you know, Korean speaking or not, right? We know A-Yo. So for them to use that, and it's pretty universally recognized in a song, and have it there constantly and kind of just have the lyrics dance around that and incorporate that, I think is really interesting, and what made the song instantly one that was like, okay, I can listen to this. I can get with this.
Ha ha Let's bring it on, ha come on I said one for the money and two for the show 지누션과 함께면 너도 챔피언 Hey 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 I said 새로 태어난 힙합 파피오 Said one for the money and two for the show 지누션과 함께면 너도 챔피언 Hey 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 I said 새로 태어난 힙합 파피오 Hey yo, spin that ish
I remember this switch up coming out of left field and enjoying it too, right? I like that. I like that.
Hey yo, spin that ish.
Ah, them as kids, yeah. To where even with the beat switching up like this, and they're still incorporating the A-Yo, but in a different way now, right? To where it's not necessarily punctuating the same as it did, you know, previously in the song. Keeps the flow going. It keeps the flow going. So it's not like, okay, we switched up the beat and got rid of A-Yo completely, to where this could be a completely different song if we only just heard this. Them keeping the A-Yo keeps the flow of the song. I like it. That's a good choice. H.I.P. H.O.T.
깨면 너도 챔피언 Hey 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 아시아 새로 태어난 힙합 파피오 Say one for the money and two for the show 지누션과 함께면 너도 챔피언 Hey 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 아시아 새로 태어난 힙합 파피오.
And that was Jinusean with A-Yo. While I'm thinking about it then and trying to remember how big the group or how big the song or how big the album or albums were and are, I'm curious as to how the Korean hip hop community has been since those times. Is it still as big? I only ask because aside from there being this kind of explosion within the K-pop music, right? In the idol environment, and certain groups and artists putting out kind of rap songs or having a rap verse, but not really being hip hop. Is there still a Korean hip hop scene, And if there are, who are some of the leaders nowadays, right? Because back then, it felt like these guys, Jinusean, Lady T or Tasha, who we'll get into later. Drunken Tiger comes to mind. And some of the other, I think they were all YG, right? To where I remember my homeboy had like a YG family poster or something like this. To where I was like, okay, I guess as far as Korean hip hop is concerned, at least for me at the time, because this was my first time kind of getting into not just the pop version, but the hip hop side as well. I'm like, apparently this is the record label that has kind of everybody. I don't know if that was accurate. I don't know if that was maybe the thing at the time or what happened since then. So I'm curious if the hip hop scene is still big over there, because again, all I'm hearing now is just, idol groups and K-pop music, not necessarily hip hop. And if there are, what some of the recommendations are. I'll be curious to give it a listen, because hearing this now, and especially comparing this to the V.O.X song, which had rappers on it, this here definitely brings me back to being like a hip hop head and now being exposed to hip hop from different countries in a different language, and it's still hip hop. And it's still something you can just slide right into and be like, okay, I'm feeling this, right? So very cool. The next video is going to be another Jinusean video, because it's on the topic of hip hop. It kind of goes back to the example that we were talking about with the V.O.X video and Tupac, to where, okay, now we have a song with an American rapper on it. And the difference here being is that obviously Jinusean is a hip hop group. So if you're a hip hop group and you have another rapper or hip hop artist on it, it should be encapsulated pretty well, right? It's not something to where you're trying to combine different styles or different sounds or something like this, to where this is gonna be what it's gonna be with or without that artist, but having the artist is adding that extra bit of what they're able to bring to it without it being something that maybe won't match or maybe will sound different, right? So it's hip hop artists having another hip hop artist on it, right? There's no music video for this one. I just remember this song, especially when I saw who that artist was, and that artist is Chino XL. And again, we have this comparison with Tupac. Any Tupac fans out there know, and probably should know, who Chino XL is. He was big back in those days. Again, at least for me being a hip hop head, just seeing his name brings me back to Sway and Tech, brings me back to the Wake Up Show, brings me back to ciphers, right? It brings me back to hip hop lyricism, where at the time, not only was I like a hip hop and rap fan for all of the popular groups, right, that you might have seen on TV or heard on the radio, but then you had like these, and we called them underground artists at the time, to where it was like, okay, they're putting out songs with lyrics in them that were mind-blowing for us at the time, only because it wasn't for the radio, right? And not to say that it was, uncensored or something like this, but it was just the wordplay was like, this is my speed here, right? So just even reading his name and having it along with a Korean group kind of again combines all these different worlds, which still make up my hip hop mindset. But to see it all kind of put together is putting a bunch of things together that I never thought would be a thing, right? So without taking out too much more time, let's get into Hip Hop Soul, featuring Chino XL, Master Wu, and Teddy. Let's give it a listen.
Chino XL with Jinusean. Word up.
As soon as I hear it, it comes back. As soon as I hear it, it all comes back. My memory for being as bad as it is, as soon as certain things I hear again or see again, it's like I'm right back there. So let's take it from the beginning, because that definitely brings me back.
Yeah. Chino XL with Jinusean. Word up. You a soldier, what? Yeah.
And before we get into the verse here, this is the cover art that I remember. This is the CD that we were rocking with at the time.
Yeah. You call yourself a soldier, but ain't repping it right. Try me. Metal detectors going off for the rest of your life. And from the rap that we've heard so far, right? The V.O.X song with Tupac and Flossy P, and then the Jinusean song we just listened to, A-Yo, which was a great song, right? Again, because there are no subtitles there, I don't really know what was being said, right? Or identify the message of the song or anything like this. But hearing Chino XL here, and in his first verse, right? With metal detectors going off for the rest of your life. That's the kind of stuff that when I was hearing it at the time, me and my friends were just losing our minds over, right? Just a simple setup and payoff of that first bar in his verse was enough for us to be like, okay, song's over, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's a bar. And even hearing that here again 20 years later brings a smile to my face. That is great. I love it. Call yourself a soldier, but ain't repping it right. Try me. Metal detectors going off for the rest of your life. No matter how hard it gets, I'd rather be a soldier dying in my own blood, not a coward in my own piss. Ferocious explosives, you loading your toast if I see ya. Chino got more soul in the capital of Korea.
I remember this verse now. I do remember parts of it. Once you start rocking with it, it starts to come back, right? The flow starts to come back. And I remember there always being like a soul line was always like an obvious kind of line to use, right? So I love it. Let's keep it going.
Explosives, you loading your toast if I see ya. Chino got more soul in the capital of Korea. You near to take a loss. Give me 2 seconds or 2 bars. I turn so-called first-rate MCs into second thoughts. It's harder to floss from a hospital room for several months. So whoever fronts, I want him once, then I'm ready to dump.
And that's the Chino that I remember. To where it'll be a simple setup and delivery for a couple of bars, and then he kind of just goes off on this multiple rhyming setup. And that's Chino. So if you're curious about what his style is, for me, that's his style, right? To where it can be very disrespectful, right? Not necessarily in this song, but then his setup can be, and his flow can be very kind of simplistic, but still bar heavy, and then kind of go into this multi-rhyming bar delivery, right? Love it. Love to hear it. This brings me back.
The floors from a hospital room for several months. So whoever fronts, I want him once, then I'm ready to dump. Burn you out of instinct if you homoed out with instinct. This Korean American link, they don't make camouflage in pink. Start degrading, my squad's impatient. I heard our lives waiting for Chi to finally bring the drama to Satan. The ground is shaking, unearthly. Freeze the seas, dig my hand in the ice and pull Korea closer to Jersey.
Now gather round, young kids, we gonna show you the deal about a hip-hop soldier.
Love it. Right? Love it. Definitely brings me back. And this is the difference, right, between like a single that you would hear on the radio or have a music video for, and then when you get into the guts of the album, it's like, okay, you're gonna have a track like this, right? To where it's like, this is gonna be on heavy rotation for me. Right? Love it.
Get a sound like this, then get ready for the drill. Cause we some hip-hop soldiers. 이렇게 left, right, left. Now move it. 발을 맞춰 hip-hop, hip-hop.
원리대로 just do it 뜨는 개처럼 뛰쳐나가 지는 해처럼 지쳐 떨어져 나가 on and on 낡은 시계 밝은 내 미래 아직도 가진 걸 lyrical pistols and grenades hit 'em up stick 'em up 마지막 퍼즐 한 조각을 pick 'em up 필승의 신념 do or die my soldiers got my back right shoot for life we hold tight 이렇게 사나이도 태어나서 할 일도 많다만 너와 나 나라 지키는 영광에 살았다
That's a good verse as well. That's a good verse. Got a lot of ad-libbing. And the dubs were, again, kept the flow moving. Really like it. And again, I like the mix between the Korean and the English, to where again you're not just kind of left out, and it's the beat that's kind of carrying you through something you don't necessarily understand, but the lyrics are there too. You know what I mean? To kind of lead you through that verse. So I like that verse as well. Again, so far for me, this song is a banger. The song is a banger.
네가 끓는 힙합 소울자 터치도 말듯 개선 성격 소유자 비겁하게 약한 자를 등쳐먹는 자는 잡고 도마 위에 올려 나의 칼을 가로 속에 던져져 세상 꼭대기 끝까지 향해 정복하는 그날까지 쉴 틈 없이 달리라지 끝없는 타오른 내 열정 나의 절정 속에 부서지는 네 편견 밝은 빛을 향해 하늘 날 수 있게 저 하늘의 모든 영광 돌릴 수 있게 Intoxicated Jinusean my word is born As kingdom of Zion forever shines on
Now gather round young kids, we gonna show you the deal about a hip-hop soldier.
자나게나 나 힙합 소울자 언제나 어디서 난 너를
You hear
노려
a sound like this, then get ready for the drill. Cause we some hip-hop soldiers.
누가 뭐래도 힙합 소울자 좌우로 맘대로 너를 노려 Ain't no turning back, said. Only take shit, dude. Know what I mean? How we do shit, right? Yo, it's like 딴 길로 세지 않고 오직 한 길로
I like the flow switch up, and I like the beat switch up there as well. Again, we kind of heard something like that in the A.Yo song we just listened to, but I like to switch up in the flow, switching up the flow.
세지 않고 오직 한 길로 목숨 걸어왔지 from YG 만 킬로를 넘을 때마다 해마다 나나 reload 하고 클릭 쳐나가 변화가 필요한 지금 난 모든 기름들을 씻어버린 내 시드 내 맘에 물을 줘 언제 어디서나 피는 그 안에 신은 바로 힙합 나는 소울자 Man I told you 한두를 위한 Nice for all your 힙합의 취향 월 나에게 귀한 All my people 다 어울려 It's automatic 죄다 손 올려 못난 다수들은 다 돌려 Fantastic my rap skills 넌 삐지만 난 nasty 힙합 힙자도 모르면 just pass me Ask me 도대체 내가 누구냐고 요 누가 뭐래도 난 힙합
Now
소울자
gather round young kids, we gonna show you the deal about a hip-hop soldier.
자나게나 나 힙합 소울자 언제나 어디서 난 너를
You hear
노려
a sound like this, then get ready for the drill. Cause we some hip-hop soldiers.
누가 뭐래도 힙합 소울자 좌우로 맘대로 너를 노려
I like that end. All right, and the next song is H.O.T. H.O.T. I think can go without any kind of introduction. As far as the girl groups and the hip hop artist side of things, H.O.T. I think was the only kind of guy group, right, boy group, K-pop group that I listened to during that time, only because, at least from my understanding, being a complete newbie to that side of music, that's all that was being talked about at that time, right? It was H.O.T, H.O.T. And then hearing them, I thought it was well standard because the songs that I do remember from them on that particular album, and I can't remember the name of the album, something Flying Castle, or it might have been the name of the song. I just remember the words Flying Castle, right? They had songs on there, like the one we're going to get into here in a second, that song being I-Yah, where I didn't mind listening to it. I thought it was great stuff. And I think especially when you get into new things, especially if it's music from a different place, whatever kind of barriers you have up or whatever your reasoning may be for listening to or not listening to a certain genre of music or whatever in your in your home country, in your native language, however you want to categorize it. I think that kind of goes away when you start to getting to music from other places, right? To where stuff you might not normally listen to, but you find yourself listening to it and you enjoy it coming from that place. And I think for me, that was definitely H.O.T. While I knew about, you know, the American bands and all that stuff at the time, I wasn't listening to those groups. I wasn't, you know, NSYNC or anything like that. You know, it was very, again, hip hop oriented. It was very Metallica back in the early and mid 90s. And then a lot of, you know, classical music and stuff as well. So musically for me, at least coming up, it was pretty well-rounded, you know, pretty well-rounded in that regard. But when it came to then listening to K-pop and, you know, that side of the house, H.O.T. was kind of the first that was completely new for me. I knew what girl groups were and female artists. I obviously knew about rappers and hip hop groups and that kind of stuff. But this kind of music coming from this kind of group was completely new to me, right? And so it kind of made me appreciate it because of its newness and differentness and because it was good, right? Speaking of H.O.T., and I don't know, again, all we had was the CD at the time. So I didn't know any, for me anyway, I didn't know any of the members' names. It was really hard to remember Korean names at that time, right? Let alone put name to face, because it seemed like with every album, like somebody looks different or there's a different hair colors or something different going on to where you don't know if that's the same person or not. Because we only had the music to go off of at the time, I think that again allowed you to kind of experience it in an interesting way, whereas now everything is video in the video format in some kind of way. It doesn't even need to be a legit music video, but there's at least some kind of visual component there, where back then, at least for me, listening to this stuff, that wasn't there, right? And while I do remember this song, and it is iconic for a couple of different reasons, like the ones I've already kind of outlined, my favorite song from this album is called A Song for a Lady. It's a slow song, and it's something to where when I heard it, I immediately loved the song. I asked my mom to ask her Korean work colleague to translate it for me, because I need to know what was being said, right? And I think that's the only song that I've done that with. So for anybody else, obviously, who does check out this video, who was or is an H.O.T. fan, who does remember that song, hopefully you'll agree that that's one of the greats, right? And again, at least for me, because this is the only album that I've heard. Anything prior to this from them, anything after this from them, I have no idea. But this album and these songs specifically, definitely do still, I do still, you know, remember them, and they are great. So let's get into, as far as I know, this is a remastered video from a year ago, from 2022, which I didn't know. So I hadn't seen the music video. I obviously know the song, but this is H.O.T. I-Yah. That intro, right? And I think that intro there was one of the first things I've heard from them where I was like, okay, this is cool. That string intro right there is iconic. I hear it and I know exactly who it is immediately. And the guitar, the strings and the guitar, right? It was this kind of blending of sounds that I wasn't prepared for, and it was very cool. And it looks like this was the music video was shot stateside, right, in Brooklyn or in, you know, New York City or somewhere in there. So interesting. Would not have expected that either. But this intro and the guitars, I remember it being like it had a certain kind of atmosphere to it. To where once the vocals come in, and there's like a whole bunch of stuff going on vocally, but the music just was incorporating so many things. It set a kind of atmosphere that was like, is unique for me, definitely unique. And then we look at the choreo, right? So I take back what I said earlier about, I think, choreo being maybe something different back then. This is some quality.
I-Yah 네가 속한 세상에 넌 너무 너무나도 아름다운 세상 속에 넌 그렇게 모든 것을 아름답기만 모든 것만 배웠지 않니 추한 것들은 가리라고 배웠지 난 그렇게 살고 싶지 않아 정말 난 그렇게 그런 무책임한 말들로 너무나 오래오래 전에 버려져왔던 날들.
Okay, it's been a band for a long time. This is my first time also reading the lyrics, right, and understanding what the song is actually talking about. And at the time, again, given what was going on instrumentally, and then vocally, I wouldn't have expected that this is what's kind of being talked about. Obviously, the nature of what we're shown in the music video kind of sets the tone, right, for what the topic might be, but the lyrics actually kind of hammer that point home. And it's awesome to see that it's something that's actually addressing something, and not just a song for song's sake. Not saying that that's wrong or bad or makes a song any less, of a song or less popular or awesome to listen to, so on and so forth. But when there are songs, especially songs that are popular, that do happen to carry a message on top of that, whether or not that's the reason for their popularity, I think is pretty awesome. So very interesting. The members, I couldn't tell you one from anybody else. I don't know who the leader is or anything like this. I do know that in this song and in the Song for a Lady song, whoever that vocalist is the one that I kind of resonate with the most, because he does have a distinctive sound in this song, as I'm sure we'll get into, and then in the Song for a Lady. So who he is amongst these faces here, amongst those 5 faces, no idea, much less if that person is the leader or not the leader. So it's interesting that I'm able to kind of put faces to verses now and seeing kind of what matches up from my memory, right? But I'm interested to see the rest of the members as we go through the song. So like the lyrics, like the music video, like the song already, like we know, and the choreo is interesting as well.
One for the kid, two for the old. 그래 우리가 만든 헌장대로 지켜진 게 뭐가 있는가? 그들은 소외당하고 무시당하고 보호받지도 못하고 그들조차 지켜주지 못했고 그래 언제까지 이따위로 살 텐가?
Again, lyrically down here, these lyrics, I don't know how accurate these lyrics are, but yeah, no, I like this last part specifically as well. Very nice, very nice.
그들은 소외당하고 무시당하고 보호받지도 못하고 그들조차 지켜주지 못했고 그래 언제까지 이따위로 살 텐가? 이루지도 못한 아이들의 불꽃을 꺼버리게 누가 허락했는가?
And as much as I love the chorus and I love this part, it's still it's refreshing to know that this is what's being said, because before, even without knowing what was being said, it still resonated, right? To where it sounded cool, like, okay, there's singing going on, it fits the song, it sounds nice, right? But now that we have the subtitles in here, or we can read what's kind of being said now, makes it that much more enjoyable, right? To where it's like, okay, not only did you like it for the reasons you liked it before, but now with the knowledge that there is a positive message, or at least a message, right, being voiced here. But I love this part right here. And that's what I mean about there being just an atmosphere to the song. And I think that's obviously what the strings kind of bring into it, to where we have the chorus and then everything just kind of switches up as the strings kind of carry you into this more kind of loud and attitude driven verse here. Like, it's awesome, right? And that's what I mean when I was talking about it in the beginning of the song, is that we have so much going on vocally, we have so much going on instrumentally, but none of it takes you out of the song, right? To where it's not just, okay, this is the beat, we have verse, verse, chorus, verse, verse, chorus, end, right? There's a lot of stuff that's going on here that makes it all so cool.
언제까지 돌이킬 수 없는 잘못을 반복하고 살 텐가. 누구나가 다 평등하게 살아갈 때 모두 다 자기 것만 찾지 않을 때 어떤 것이 무엇이 제일 소중한지 깨달을 때 그때 밝은 내일이 살아 돌아온다.
If you ain't feeling these lyrics, I don't know what to tell you. Again, I was feeling them before because the attitude was there and the music surrounding it just made it easy to get into the song. But now, with the lyrics, they're saying some shit. I like it. I really do. That is the one part in the original that I do remember because it was something that was English and recognizable, right? From the rooftop, I might snipe you, especially that part was like, oh, okay. So again, for me, like, hearing that part was like, okay, well then the rest of the song has to be as gangster as I'm imagining it, right? Because they're saying lines with rooftop snipers, right? And camouflage ciphers, you know what I'm saying? So to actually go back and see the music video, right? And we get the subtitles to where I couldn't have been further off, but I couldn't be more pleased with that. But I do remember hearing the song originally way back then, this verse here being something that I was like, oh, okay, I can understand what's being said here. And then the sniper and cipher parts, I'm like, oh, okay, definitely. So there must be on some gangster shit, you know. But yeah, I love it. Okay, so this is the guy. Okay, so this is the guy that does the song for a lady and has that vocal tone, again, that is immediately identifiable, and I was like the most impressed with as far as just listening to the song was concerned, right? You can tell like different members just from the sound of their voice and this kind of stuff just from listening to it. But when this part came on, it was like, okay, this guy sounds cool, and now I get to know who that is, right? So let's see if you guys agree with me, because this part here is probably my favorite part of the song, and we've already had so many awesome parts to the song. The part going into his verse, where you have the piano and as everything slows down, then you have his verse. Then when he holds that last note and the guitar comes in, and we're back into a new verse with a new member, that's the transition. That's my favorite part of the song, is that right there. Is him coming in, everything switches up, and then as he's leaving, everything switches up again, and it's seamless for me.
Everybody get on stage, the round praise, praise in a day, stage, and the fall in the mall with the brand space. 언젠가는 모든 것이 사라진 대로 이겨낼 수 있게 도와줘야 돼. 우리에게 남은 것이 사랑이라면 아낌없이 줘야 해.
So that is H.O.T. I-Yah. The music video was a joy to watch. Finally being able to know what was being said via the subtitles there was like listening to it for the first time, right? Very cool. Let me know what your favorite part of the music video or the song was. The same with all the other tracks. You know, I think I started it with my XG reactions, to where if you have a favorite move, if you have a favorite part of the song, right, be it vocally or instrumentally, if there's something in the song specifically that resonates with you, no matter what that detail may be, let me know, because I know that's something that I have with music that I listen to, or just things that I like in general, to where there's the crowd that likes it, to where generally we all like it or something like that. But what then specifically, when you drill down to it, is something that within that is like, okay, this really specifically is kind of what I like the most about it. It can be absolutely anything. Lord knows there are songs that I listen to or things that I enjoy where it's just some obscure small detail, and I'm like, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't like it as much, but because that's in there, that's for me, right? So now we have the last video that we're getting into, or not even a video, because just like with the other Jinusean song, there is no music video for this song, sadly. I only picked this song because, just like with the Jinusean Chino XL song, because it's something that I remembered listening to at the time, because that's what the CD had on it. I didn't know, or I wouldn't have known if there was a music video for this song or not. It was something that was on the album, and you listen to it and you're like, okay, yeah, know this most definitely. So the last song that we have here is from Tasha. I think we had I remember this art here. So we had to have had the legit CD, but for whatever reason, Lady T. I must have got a copied version from my friend, and he wrote Lady T on it, I believe. So that's how I knew her. So back when I was trying to do the research for these things, after I mentioned them in my XG video, I was having a hard time actually tracking this one down, because I didn't know what to search for. So when I finally tracked her down, I was like, okay, Tasha, makes sense. And I think a lot of her music was also being was also found under her Korean name, which I didn't know at all, obviously. But then trying to find which song, and again, I don't even know which song this is. I think this is just the first song on the album, and I remember it being ridiculous. I remember the whole album. If there was one whole album at that time that I can put like, this was the one, it was this, because it was so completely unexpected for me. I was listening to other music, and even with the music I was listening to, there might be a favorite track, or a favorite song, or a favorite verse, or a favorite chorus part, or something like this. But as far as albums go, I remember this album being something to where I was like, this might have to be my first just like complete front to back album purchase from a foreign artist, you know what I mean? Because it surprised me that much, and it was that good. So while doing research for Tasha and finding this album, right, I was shocked to find out that I guess originally she's from my neck of the woods, which I would not have guessed at all, and that she's been in the game a long time. And I guess she was still putting out music even fairly recently. But this, just like with all the other artists we listen to, my catalog of them, of their music, is only as broad as that particular time period. So anything that was out from them before that time of me listening to them, I didn't listen to, we didn't have. Anything else after that, didn't listen to, didn't have, right? If there are, with any of these artists, if there's anything else out by them that you would recommend, let me know. I'm curious about the old school stuff, right? Especially from, again, artists like these, because these are the ones that I do recall, right? But let's get into Tasha. This is from the Gemini album, and this is the one I remember listening to, and this is the first song, I believe, from that album, and I remember it being a banger. Let's see if it still holds up.
뭘 하라고요 지금? 마이크 테스트. 내 음성이 좋아요? 젊은.
I remember the mic test. This is the intro then, I think, because I remember the mic test, right? And I'm like, okay, I understand that mic test, right? That brings me back.
뭘 하라고요 지금? 마이크 테스트. 내 음성이 좋아요? 젊은이들 놀자. 아싸. 돼요?
신비로운 자주빛의 커튼을 열고 lights, camera, action 눈을 감고 구름 위로 올라타니 상상의
Ooh, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Off the bat, compared to everything we listened to just this far, I can't even talk right. This is crazy. There's so much attitude here. And at the time, I know that we were losing it listening to this song and listening to the album. But now, having been removed from it for so long, having listened to 20 years worth of music since then, and now coming back to this, there is attitude in here. Ooh, there is confidence in here. Ooh. And that brings me back right to the question I had before with how big is the hip hop scene there now, and if there's anybody else now who's doing it that I need to hear about, right? Because for me, we're 16 seconds in. We're 16 seconds in, and 2 bars into this first verse, and there's attitude and confidence here where it's like, okay, I've heard enough. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard enough. I know the rest of this is gonna be ridiculous. And I remember us riding to this song, you know what I mean? And man, this is a banger, a freaking banger. Let's take it back.
뭘 하라고요 지금? 마이크 테스트.
There's attitude. Ooh.
젊은이들 놀자. 아싸. 돼요?
신비로운 자주빛의 커튼을 열고 lights, camera, action 눈을 감고 구름 위로 올라타니 상상의 세계로 떠올라 환상의 나라로 평화, 사랑, 기쁨과 소망 꽃과 같은 사람들의 속만 잔잔히 바람 부는 영원한 봄밤 강가솔래 모두 숨을 쏟지 니 바로 속에 짐이 쳤어.
That beat in the background? What? This song is, oh man. For me, this song holds up. For me, this song, you can put this out today somewhere and people would be shocked. What is this? At least for me. This is a banger. And again, this is just from my hip hop head, right? So we don't have a whole lot going on. There's not big, broad, instrumental stuff going on and all kinds of vocal things happening. This is just pure hip hop, and this is me. You know what I mean? And again, it goes back to the daydream of wanting to be kind of like in that in that environment at that time and like linking up with somebody like that. I couldn't imagine it, right? To where I'm in high school, middle school, writing rhymes in a notepad. Imagine going to the studio. Imagine putting something out. Then imagine collabing with somebody from a different country who's putting it down like this and being like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Crazy. Beat is crazy. Flow is crazy. Flow is crazy.
오늘 영원한 복방 강가솔래 모두 소문 쏘지 니 바로 속이 지니 첫사랑에 보내주니 병 속의 편지 아싸 좋다 실컷 놀아보자 내일을 잊어버리고 감을 낮춰볼까 Everybody bounce like da-da-da-da-da Move to the rhythm of the Everybody bounce like da-da-da-da-da Move to the rhythm 머리부터 발끝까지
Ooh, and it doesn't stop. And it doesn't stop. The end to the verse there, right? Everybody bounce like da-da-da-da-da. Oh, and then the repeat, and then it goes right into the chorus. Like from the time the song started to we get into the chorus, it's been just non-stop. Then it's like, okay, chorus, rock with it. Like let me know when I can come back into this second verse and kill it all over again. That's what this song is telling me. The song is, and this is a hell of an intro to make, right? As far as like intros go for albums, I imagine it's something that you always kind of want to set the tone for, right? Kind of like, okay, this is more or less what you can expect. Maybe not in the same sound, but just in the quality of the song, right? Because she does have slower stuff in the album that I remember as well. But like this right here is a way to set it off. Holy crap.
Everybody bounce like da-da-da-da-da Move to the rhythm 머리부터 발끝까지 상무지개 끝에 보물 찾기 끄떡끄떡거리는 네 머리는 내 아기 Rock this funky joint 모두 같이 바쁜 하루 지들의 시간을 잠시 충지 Charge energy 여자 아주 바삐 I 바삐 오늘 나와 같이 시계를 던져버리고 실룩 흔들어 네 머리를 굴떡굴떡 Bounce with me 얼싸 좋다 실컷 놀아보자 내를 잊어버리고 감을 낮춰볼까 Everybody bounce like da-da-da-da-da Move to the rhythm of the Everybody bounce like da-da-da-da-da Move to the rhythm 머리부터 발끝까지
What I like again is that it's really clear as well. So it's fast, it's clear, and it's like specifically punctuated, right? To where there's not like maybe a word that goes on too long that might not mesh with what she's doing with the syllables, right? You see what I'm saying? To where everything is like cut precisely, to where there's no kind of dead air in between, right? There's not like you trying to sandwich a word in there just to kind of make the bar complete, and that word kind of throws the tempo off, right? I know that was a problem for me in my incomplete, right? In my incomplete, songwriting back in the day, to where I would be so serious about finding just the right word to kind of keep things moving along, not just space and tempo wise, but then as to what's also being said, right? And it would be easy just to throw a word in there just to get it done, just to kind of connect A to B, whatever the case may be. But to the first verse through the second verse here, it seems like every word there is just being said perfectly, allowing the flow to just flow, right? It's not like, okay, I had to take maybe a half second longer gap here in between just because what I was writing didn't fit maybe the way I wanted to, right? The delivery is on point. The delivery is on point.
Let your body go. Take a deep breath, let it ease and slow. 5, 4, 3 to the 1. Fall deep into a sleep. Let your imagination.
Right? Like there's a swag there. Like when it gets to the English, when it gets to the English speaking bars, there's like the confidence and the swag doesn't stop. You know what I mean? And it's interesting. Really interesting.
Like that, I'ma take you there. No turning back.
네, 세, 둘, 하나, 다 같이 가물쳐 볼까? Relax your mind, let your body go. Take a deep breath, let it ease and slow. 5, 4, 3 to the 1. Fall deep into a sleep, let your imagination go. 엉덩이를 흔들, 얼씨구나. 좌우를 흔들, 지화자 좋다. 도미는 털고
Tasha holding it down. And this has been a ridiculous kind of road through the old memory books, right? The old pages from the past, right? Man, oh man. And again, this sprang from, again, the XG music reaction and me giving my little background. I hadn't given it thought in I don't know how long, and I just rattled off some names that I remember. And now going back through this and listening to it again for the first time in 20 years and kind of it bringing me back. It was a good summer, right? It was a good few summers there. You know what I mean? Let me know what your favorite song from these four were, what your favorite parts were, what some of the highlights from the music was. If you have any recommendations as far as just these artists are concerned, that way I can kind of keep it more or less organized, and I'm not just suddenly bombarded with, assuming anybody watches this, bombarded with any kind of recommendations just by any group or any artist. Keep it within these if you don't mind. But this has been my kind of blast from the past, right? Tasha holds it down. I want to go and listen to the whole album, but then I want to also just capture my reaction and share it with you guys as well. You know, let it be as genuine as I can make it. But that last, I think it was good to kind of save it for last, most definitely. But if you hung with me for this long, I appreciate it. I might just release these videos one at a time, just, you know, group by group, because all at once it'll be at least an hour long, and that might be too much. But we'll see. We'll see how I can kind of make it all happen. But just wanted to give some kind of context as far as just musically where my experience was kind of, where that foundation was kind of laid, right? But thanks for hanging out with me. I'm Miko. Take it easy. Take care. Talk to you next time.